doing great. Today we are going to discuss about HCL Technologies Scrum Master interview questions and answers based on my conversation with my friend who is currently working in Tech Mahindra, Chennai, India. It's a lengthy interview where questions are mix of easy to intermediate to experienced, and I can say one or two questions are entirely different. So friends, watch complete video. You never know which question will be asked by interviewer in your next interview. Hello friends, my name is Suran Sharma and welcome to our YouTube channel Careers Talk. I am Agile consultant, and if you are visiting our channel Careers Talk first time, make sure you hit the subscribe button. When you subscribe to this channel, you will get 3 benefits. For your next Scrum Master, Project Manager interviews, you will be more confident after watching real-world interviews, questions and answers from large multinational companies which I am posting regularly. You will be learn more about different exams, certifications like PMP, PSM, CSM, PMI, ACP, Scaled Agile. And you will learn a lot from videos on project management, Agile methodologies, along with different frameworks like Scrum, SAFe and Kanban. Every single week, I will upload at least one video for you, so click on subscribe button right away and make sure you hit bell icon to turn on the notification. At the end of the video, if you like my efforts, please hit like button. Your one like is big motivation for me. So friends, let's start HCL Scrum Master interview questions and answers. Let's start with the interview rounds. There are going to be 3 rounds of interview, the span of 4 to 6 weeks. First and second round is going to be technical one, and the third round is going to be the HR round. So first question is about what is your key responsibilities as a Scrum Master. This will be your first Scrum Master interview question in your all interviews, so prepare it well. You can say something like, as a Scrum Master, I can organize and facilitate project planning, daily stand-up meetings, reviews, retrospectives, sprint and release planning, sprint demos. Identify and remove impediments, prevent distractions that interfere with the ability of the team to deliver the sprint goal. Work with product owners to identify that the product backlog is in place and rank, groom to the appropriate level to start and continue development iterations. Track and communicate team velocity and sprint release progress along with other matrices to different stakeholders. Let's move on to the next question. How do you influence your team to use Scrum? So you have a team or organization who has never used Scrum, and introducing it can be hard. Initially, understand why they want to adopt Scrum in the first place. What is the reason to adopt Scrum? When Scrum is adopted first, you want to start small. You do not want to take on anything huge that incorporates multiple organizational units, teams, etc. Start small with a project that is manageable, tangible. Go with something quite visible to gain the most traction. Teams need to set expectations in that Scrum is very easy to explain but difficult to do in practice. When you start with a smaller project, you can show the benefit quickly. Question number 3. How will you ensure the team is following the Agile processes? This is a Scrum Master interview question for experienced. Let's see the answer. Adopt the guidelines, the process. Scrum does not have a step-by-step approach. Scrum has guidelines and lays out a high-level process, but is up to the teams to adopt everything in a way which will work best for them. An Agile coach Scrum Master that comes in will need to figure out the coherence level of the team and also which flavor of Scrum, how best to adopt it to be successful. You do not want to bring Scrum to an organization with a hard-handed approach. Have the whole team figure out the working agreement and write it down. In Scrum teams need to come up with it. so they have ownership and also know how they want to work. Adopting Scrum within an organization is possible, but it requires buy-in. Scrum may not even be right agile methodology. There exists Kanban, Scrumman, XP, and many others. If the vehicle does not meet the needs, change it and adopt what works for you. Next question. Tell us one impediment which you have encountered as a Scrum Master. So this question you can expect in Scrum Master interview very frequently. Let's see the answer. A Scrum Master plays a very important role in the team. He creates a productive work environment for the team, guides the team about Scrum practices, and resolves many impediments that arise. The common impediments that he faces are finding the balance between management and the team expectations. During the transition phase, the management still believe in the traditional methods, which leads to unrealistic expectations. Scrum Masters must focus on guiding and teaching Scrum practices to all involved in the project so that teething problems are overcome. Daily stand-up meetings that do not finish on time. In the beginning, often daily stand-ups are used for problem solving or having lengthy discussions. These should be avoided. Instead, focus on three questions. What have I accomplished since the last stand-up? What do I hope to achieve before the next stand-up? And what impediments am I likely to face? Next question. How do you manage the resistance of a person in Scrum? This question is very common in Scrum Master interview, so I am going to give the answer in detail. To some extent, everyone fears change. To effectively manage a major change like the move to agile development process, 4 key roles need to be established and filled with qualified, knowledgeable supporter of the change within the company. The first role is coach, an individual from outside the development team who steps up to offer guidance and a big picture view of the change. This person will serve as an important voice of reason as the transformation progresses. Supervisors, an individual to whom other reports, who is responsible for allocating resources, guiding and monitoring current and future performance, and has the authority to demand compliance. Sponsor, an executive level individual with proven credibility and ability to influence people, a firm supporter of the change who is willing and able to be organizational voice of progress. Fourth, the team member, anyone who is impacted by the change. Their main role is to negotiate on their own behalf and to provide real-time feedback as the change progresses. These individuals must work together to achieve 3 main goals if the transformation is going to be successful. First, conceptual agreement. Everyone impacted by the change need to agree on exactly what the change is about and what it means. This does not mean everyone wholly agrees, but that they understand what they are disagreeing about. Second, competence and capability. Everyone impacted by the change will need to learn new skills to some extent. The organizational need to support these learning needs by providing trainings, tools, and adequate time away from normal work to receive and apply this training. Third, continuity. As the transformation progresses and after it is technically completed, the infrastructure, the cultural shift, and the executive support needs to be there to back up the new processes rather than allowing the things to revert to the business as usual. Hope this question will help you guys. Next question. How to deal with additional stories during the sprint? This question you can expect in Scrum Master interview. Not every task is known when the team starts a sprint. It is perfectly fine to discover more details about what you are going to do as you come along. 2 ways to work with scope change. First, Handling scope change, put one in, pull one out. This is most common in case any scope change is required during the sprint. One strategy that might be considered is put one in, pull one out. If there is an item in the sprint with the same size as that idea and work has not yet begun on this item or the user story, the product owner can swap the two. Handling scope change buffers. Other way to handle potential scope change is by using a buffer. You can predict that the product owner will have a new ideas during the sprint and allow him to use X amount of developer resources. In Agile lingo, this kind of thing is called a contingent. Next question. How will you calculate the velocity in initial phase of the project? The main idea behind velocity is to help teams estimate how much work they can complete in a given time period based on how quickly similar work was previously completed. Velocity is a relative measure. In other words, the raw number means little, it is trend that matters. Velocity helps you to understand how long it will take your team to complete the product backlog. However, it typically takes few sprints for the team figure out a more stable velocity. To estimate more accurate velocity for your team, we can gain the experience based on the past track record of the team. It will be more accurately forecasting of how many stories a team can do in a sprint. For forecasting purposes, the average of the last 3 or 4 sprints velocity should be used. Next question, difference between a capacity and velocity. So capacity is an estimated value that potentially can be delivered that is determined during PI planning. It is based on velocity and modified for the realities or anticipated holidays, staffing absence or changes. If our velocity was 40 but the holiday falls in the next sprint, we might use a capacity of 25 while our velocity remains unchanged at 40. The velocity itself is unchanged since it is the calculated average of past performance. And velocity is the measured result of a team average over time. Friends, we have covered half of our questions. Hope you like them. Please subscribe to our channel if not done, as more similar videos are in the queue. Next question. Difference between DOR and DOD. So definition of ready refers to the state of adequacy of the requirement as provided in the high priority stories in the product backlog that product owner would like to present to the development team during the sprint planning. The definition of done refers to the state of release readiness, that means completeness of development, testing and other acceptance criteria as achieved on sprint backlog stories at the end of the sprint. Next question. Difference between acceptance criteria and definition of done. It's a common Scrum Master interview question, so friends, let's see the answer. Acceptance criteria refer to a set of predefined requirements that must be met in order to mark a user story complete. We use the definition of done to assess when work on the product increment is complete. Deliverables that add verifiable, demonstrable addition of a value to the product are part of the definition of done, such as writing code, coding comments, unit testing, integration testing, release notes, design documents, etc. Definition of done help frame our thinking to identify deliverables that a team has to complete in order to build a software. Question number 11. You have a big team which are new to Scrum. How do you implement the Scrum? Friends, I have just mentioned the points in this, otherwise this answer is going to be a very big. Let's see the different steps if you want to implement a Scrum in your project. Step 1. Teach Scrum. Step 2. Set your vision with a strategy meeting. Step 3. Build out your product roadmap. Step 4. Get ready with the release plan. Step 5. Plan out your sprints. Step 6. Keep your team on track with a daily scrum. Step 7. Demo to customer. Step 8. Retrospective meetings. And step 9. Start the next sprint immediately. Question number 12. How did you solve dispute between various Scrum teams? Friends, it's a must Scrum Master interview questions in any interview. That's the reason I am going to explain in detail. It is always stressful to work with team disputes in addition to the deadlines and deliverables pressure. There could be hundreds of reasons that are contributing towards the lack of teamwork. The global teams nowadays consist of varied colors, ages, sexes, and cultural backgrounds. This combination in a team can contribute to dispute. When there are multiple senior resources with varied priorities, the pressure could spread across the team and cause the noise. The ego clash could be the primary reason, or it could be a team member attitudes toward work, where a personal agenda or the hunger for early success before project milestones are due. When in a team, people sometimes forget that they are part of a team who are working together to achieve the same goal. Rather than working as a competitor, they fail each other rather than helping each other. It is worse when the project teams are grouped based on modules and each have dependencies between them. Whatever the case, the ball always ends up in Scrum Master code. There are various ways to manage the situation as a Scrum Master. One-on-one meeting. As a Scrum Master, talk to them. Having one-on-one meeting will allow team members to tell their sides of story. We could use the time to caution them of the consequences. Sometimes all they want someone to listen to their problems. Team building activities. Fun times like team building exercise away from work can help to build the bond between team members. In addition, it helps once in a while to relax, loosen up, and get to know each other away from work. Regular interactions. We need to find way to lighten up the team and build unity. Introducing the fun factor will build the team spirit. Once a month we can plan team lunches, happy hours after a big stressful release, and some outdoor fun on Friday evenings will be a game changer. Awards in the spirit of the team. We should announce team awards to outstanding team members who display the best team spirit. This will encourage others to follow. Awards are always the best way to show your team they are recognized, appreciated, and that you care. Move the troublemaker. We need to find the black sheep in the team and assign them independent tasks and areas so that there is no conflict of interest. But we cannot always keep them isolated. Troublemakers should learn team ethics and eventually they will become team player. We should give them ample opportunity to learn from other team members while still keeping the work assignment independent. Onboarding activity. Include team building activities as a part of the onboarding activity when there is a newcomer in the team. Use it as a reason to celebrate. Newcomers have a lot to learn from senior team members, and when it starts on a celebration note, it is easy to carry the relationship. Sense it and solve it. Taking preventive action in a timely fashion can help us to avoid bigger issues at later stage of our project. Next question. What is servant leader? This question was to test if Scrum role is different from PM role. A servant leadership is characterized by leaders who put the need of a group over their own. These leaders foster trust among employees by holding themselves accountable, helping others develop, showing appreciation, sharing power, and listening without judging. While serving and leading seems like conflicting activities, these leaders are effective initiators of action. Question number 14. Scenarios in which developers consuming more of the sprint time so tester did not have enough time for testing. It's an experienced Scrum Master interview question and I am going to explain in detail. Firstly, why does this happen? There are many reasons and some of them are incorrect estimation. So if you started with an inaccurate expectation, things are bound to fail. A good test estimate must take the following into account. Time for preparatory tasks. We are talking about tasks such as identifying and putting together a regression suite, creating test data, time to determine test readiness, test case maintenance. Test cases are long-term usage assets. They are sure to undergo minor updates during execution. It is always recommended that for a new products up to 30% of your test execution time should be allocated for these minor maintenance tasks. All teams and projects might not need 30% but do allocate some time and effort for this task. Ad hoc testing. The count of scripted tests is a major denominator for a test estimation numbers. However, no test team in the world will deny exploring your software even if the model is dominantly scripted. Reporting communication. This includes tries, stand-up meetings, updating work management tool, etc. Contingency factor. Standard suggests 25 to 30% buffer to your original estimate, but teams can really afford it. Even then, leave a little breathing room when possible. Teams and its capabilities. If you have a new team or if they are using a tool for the first time, you might need to set some time aside for training. Tailor your estimate based on your team you are working with. Unstable builds and other technical problems. Smoke sanity test failure. When the basic test on the UT fails after deployment into QA environment, there is pretty much nothing the QA team can do towards test execution. It is true that we can work on other tasks while this happens, but it still will not fill the test cycle time. So this is a major contributor to the time wasted. Test data unavailable. Production-like data is a must for every testing project. Not getting this into a QA environment on time is also another blocking factor. Sometimes testers can work around by creating and managing their own test data, but it is a time consuming and might not always be on point. Environmental issue. The build failing deployments, the server keeping getting timeout, many more such issues eat away your test cycle. This probably stems from the fact that some companies undermine the importance of a good live-like environment for effective QA. They often try to get away low capacity server and make do setups. This is really a short time fix and does nobody any favor. In fact, it could cost them the quality of testing and loss of valuable test time. So how can tester get enough time for testing? First, estimate accurately. When in doubt, overestimate by a reasonable margin but not underestimate. Don't forget to make estimate adjustment based on your team, tools and process. When done, seek official sign-off so everyone is aware and is kept in the loop. Second, take historical data into consideration. The test management tool is your best friend. How long did the earlier release test cycle take? What kind of issues caused interruption to the previous test cycle? How many runs did most test cases take before they passed? What defects were reported? What defects caused the testing to be interrupted? Third, ask these questions and plan according in a crunch time. Find out important functionality is your project. Find out how risk module of the project. Which functionality is most visible to the user? Which functionality has the largest safety impact? Which functionality has the largest financial impact on user? Next question. Give scenarios where to use burn up and burn down chart. A burn down chart shows how much work is remaining to be done in the project, whereas a burn up shows how much work has been completed and the total amount of work. Simplicity with information. Burndown charts are simple, a single line racing towards zero as a project is completed. Anyone can understand this chart and it does not need an explanation. However, it can hide important information. For example, the effect of scope change. Scope change is when work is added to or removed from a project. A burn up track completely work and total work with two separate lines, unlike a burn down chart which combines them into a single line. Presenting project progress on a regular basis. So if you are presenting project progress to the same audience on a regular basis, for example weekly customer progress meeting, you are probably better off with a burn up. It will allow you to easily show them you are making progress, even if they have been adding more work or testing has revealed problems that are adding work to the project. Convincing customer to stabilize project scope. Scope creep is the enemy of every software project. In the face of scope creep, burn down charts start to look like little progress is being made. However, a burn up clearly makes the scope creep problem visible to the customer. This may even help you to convince them to stop requesting changes and allow the project to complete. Next question. How you manage Agile in fixed price contract? Friends, I never saw this Scrum Master interview question. So I have explained this in detail. Let's see. The Agile fixed price is a contractual model agreed upon by suppliers and customers of IT projects that develop software using Agile methods. The model introduces an initial test phase, after which budget, due date, and the way of steering the scope within the framework is agreed upon. This differs from a traditional fixed price contract in that fixed price contract usually require a detailed and exact description of the subject matter of the contract in advance. Fixed price contracts aim at minimizing the potential risk caused by unpredictable later changes. In contrast, Agile fixed price contracts simply require a broad description of the entire project instead of a detailed one. In Agile contracts, the supplier and the customer together define their common assumptions in terms of business value, implementation risk, expense, and cost. On the basis of these assumptions, an indicative fixed price scope is agreed upon, which is not yet contractually binding. This is followed by the test phase, during which the actual implementation begins. At the end of this phase, both parties compare the empirical findings with their initial assumptions. Together, they then decide on the implementation of the entire project and fixate the condition under which changes are allowed to happen. Further aspect of an Agile contract, one risk share or the option of the either party leaving the contract at any stage, that is known as exit point. Approaches to an Agile contracts. Cap time and material contract. Cap T&M contract work in the sense of traditional T&M contract. However, there is an upper limit to how much customer will have to pay. In this way, supplier benefit with early time frame change while customer only have to pay up till the capped cost limit is reached. Target cost contract. In target cost contract, parties involved with the contracts agree on a final price during negotiation. These contracts allow cost saving for both parties if contracts run below budget, but also allow both parties to be faced with additional cost if contract run above budget. Incremental delivery contracts. Incremental delivery contracts allow customer to review contract at the designated points in the contract life cycle. These points are negotiated into contracts and allow customer to make changes, continue or terminate the project. Next question. What are different Agile matrices you have used in your project? Types of Agile matrices. There are three important families of Agile matrices. First is lean matrix that focus on ensuring a flow of value from the organization to its customer and eliminating wasteful activities. Common matrices include lead time and cycle time. Then comes the Kanban matrix, focus on workflow, organizing and prioritizing work, and getting it done. A common metric is a cumulative flow. Third is Scrum matrix, focus on predictable delivery of working software to customer. Common matrices include the burndown chart and team velocity. There are a few other matrices, for example, agile quality matrices that include escape defects, failed deployment, release net promoter score (NPS), agile productivity matrices like lead time, cycle time, sprint burndown, epic and release burndown, velocity, agile project matrices like cumulative flow and code coverage. Friends, thank you for watching. I am sure you have learned something new today. For more such videos, please subscribe and like. Press the bell icon so you will get notification as I am progress creating more real life Scrum Master interview videos. So thanks for watching. Have a nice day.